What a good turn. What a good turnout this morning. Thank you so much for coming. My name is George McDonald, and I am the Business Department Chairperson at Laredo College. I would like to thank our panelists for being here today and participating in the Governor's Forum and taking on the challenge of answering questions presented to them on growing beyond borders. So thank you very much, panelists. As an entrepreneur, business person, or a partner or corporation who works with them, you'll find or understand that the most successful businesses are continuously evolving in response to shifts in markets, trends, and customer behavior and expectations. Growing a business, much less growing beyond borders, encompasses many avenues of approach, to say the least. For a business to be successful and continuously on the upswing, the following should be considered: increasing the value of your customer base, the creation of a high-performing team and culture, exploiting the opportunities created through digital technologies, optimizing operations, developing a funding strategy for growth, and achieving powerful strategic alliances, partnerships, and acquisitions. With this in mind, selling goods in multiple cities, states, or countries can be complicated. You'll have to navigate various cultures, regulations, and build relationships with local and regional suppliers. Advances in technology have made it even easier, even for small companies or startups that can't afford to pay consultants to help them devise a global strategy. So I have a couple of tips you might want to follow. Think small to go big. You'll stretch yourself too thin if you research and develop a product for every possible market. Be in good company and make it easier on yourself, and surround yourself with other entrepreneurs. Trust me, they're everywhere. So why not partner up with them and start talking with them? Get your customers to do some of the legwork. If you build a loyal following, your customers may help spread the word about your product on a global scale. So what better way to do things? Pick your partners wisely. You always want to ensure the companies and individuals in your supply chain are operating in a way that reflects your own company's values. This is especially challenging when your potential partners may be halfway across the globe and you may never meet them in person. Doing your homework is always worth it. So, at this time, I would like to ask each panelist to introduce themselves, and then we will proceed with questions and answers of our finalists. And the way we're going to work this is we will ask each panelist one question and pursue it in that mode. So I guess we'll start right here. Lisandra?
Hi, everyone. My name is Lisandra Palma, and I am the owner of Forever After. I'm very grateful for being here with you all and being able to share some of my experience as an entrepreneur, and I hope you all enjoy your time here with us. Thank you.
Hi, Monica Salinas. I'm a licensed U.S. Custom broker. I'm on the field since 23 years ago. You are not allowed to ask for my age, okay? You can ask anything, but not my age. So I have plenty of experience on this field, all the trade operations. Involved with the Association of the U.S. Customs Broker also. I'm the vice president right now, and I'm the owner of Chromex Forwarding.
My name is Pete Mims. I have Border Foundry Restaurant and Bar and Trattoria Mia. Run this as a family business, my wife and 2 kids. And our main thing is we try to give good customer service and everything for everybody. So,
good morning, Laredo. Let me just first start by thanking Michael from the SBDC here in Laredo. It's always a privilege for me to come back to Laredo and talk to, I think, just a spirit full of entrepreneurs looking to do great things in a great, great city. I am with the SBA, the U.S. Small Business Administration, stationed in Houston. I've got my colleague Annie Hutsmith that's kind of in the back of the room. She's in San Antonio, but she helps us in covering the Laredo market. So I am here to talk with you about the SBA's international credit programs, and hopefully I'll leave you with some valuable insight about what we do.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and start our first question with Pete Mims. And Pete, your question is, what drove you to start your own restaurant?
Well, I think like anybody in this room probably, if you all like to cook, you cook for your family, you cook for your friends, everybody starts telling you, hey, why don't you open up your own restaurant? And a lot of people don't do that. And we saw an opportunity and we just took off with it. And I started out, my old business was a machine shop and a manufacturing business. We had 6 employees back then, and I was just cooking as a hobby. I ended up, got invited to go to a bar and grill here in town to take over a kitchen. And I'd never been in the restaurant business in my life. And I said, yeah, what the heck, just for lunch. So we started doing barbecue. So I started doing that and started getting a following. I started cooking for a bunch of people, private parties, private dinners, and the thing just kind of took off. And what it is when you see an opportunity, you got to get it and take off and run with it. And it's been real well. I mean, I started with 6 employees at the original business, and now between both restaurants, we have 85 employees. So, and we've been open 5 years at Border Foundry. We've been open almost 2 years at Trattoria Mia. Like Michael was saying earlier, that Laredo is so focused on international trade, logistics, trucking, all that. Most of my clientele has a lot to do with that. I mean, if you go into my restaurants at night, sometimes you won't recognize a single person in there because they're from out of town and they're eating. And we rely heavily on international trade and international business. So, thank you.
Thank you, Pete. And I can attest to it because every time I go to Border Foundry, I put on about an extra 3 or 4 pounds. Next, we'll ask Monica, how do U.S. companies import from other countries?
Okay, a U.S. company has to register with customs, with CBP, in order to import any shipment or any good from other states or from outside of the states. Any person of the United States that is legally paying taxes, it's allowed to register. You don't have to have a company set up. You can import goods actually as an individual. You need to have some requirements. You have regulation depending on what you are importing. And also, as a small business, what we are seeing on the trade, it's a lot of people, it's buying through Amazon and through all these websites. And we are allowed to import $800 without declaring to customs. It's great, right? Everybody likes not paying taxes like when you import something, but let me tell you, it's not. As a trade, we are looking on lower that amount because we are seeing cases that, I'm going to give this example. We are seeing cases where a person imports condoms under $800. But you know what? Those condoms doesn't pass through the FDA, which is one regulation that we have to comply on our regular shipment when you import through the customs. And guess what? Those condoms doesn't comply with all the requirements to be safe. And we are having STDs, we have pregnancies because of those under 800 shipments. So it's something that we are looking in order to protect our communities and our country. And like that example, I have a lot. So basically, when you are going to import, you will need invoices and check if, before you buy anything, you have to check if it is regulated. Because if it is regulated, you are going to deal with a lot of other agencies, that it's FDA, USDA, the FMCA. So you need to check before you do anything. You have to plan, you have to get, the US government has a lot of information on their website, and you can always have legal advice to set up all the importation. But basically, you will need an invoice, proof of your payment, and a tax ID or your social security number.
Thank you, Monica. Alale, the next one is for you. And what is SBA's role in assisting business to go international?
Great question. Thanks, George. So when you think of SBA, a lot of people think that SBA is primarily a domestic financial support center. And so a lot of what we do is we supply lenders with what we call a loan guarantee so that they can help a small business owner to get off the ground. So my friend here who has the various restaurants, if you've got a restaurant and you're trying to operate domestically, the SBA can support you with that by supplying the lender with a 75% guarantee. Kind of serves as an incentive for the bank to want to extend credit to you. On the flip side of that, we also have what we call our SBA's Office of International Trade, and that's the division that I'm associated with. And what we do is exclusively focus on companies to export their product outside of the United States. Now, how do we do that? We do that through a number of different sources. The first being with our credit program. We offer 3 very unique credit programs. Our first being our Export Working Capital Facility, our Export Express Credit Facility, and our International Trade Loan. All of these credit products are designed to help a small business owner to either get their business ready to export or to expand into additional markets that they haven't yet thought of. Now, secondly, I'll tell you, when you think of the SBA's financial support structure, you think that you have to be a widget producer in order to qualify for one of our working capital programs, and that's just not true. So Laredo, I think we talked about it being a logistics hub, essentially. You can be in the logistic business and qualify for an SBA Export Working Capital credit facility. And I can tell you that facility goes up to $5 million. It comes with a 90% loan guarantee. So we have a number of lenders that are supportive of the program that participates in providing this type of credit facility to a small business owner. So you can be in Laredo, Texas, and have foreign buyers or foreign customers out of Mexico that you supply logistics services for and qualify for the SBA Working Capital Program to purchase new trucks, to essentially bridge the gap until you've collected payment from your foreign source in Mexico, Canada, or wherever that may be. So we do a number of things to support small businesses. In addition to our credit program, we also have what we call the STEP grant program, which stands for State Trade Expansion Program. The SBA's Office of International Trade is partnering with the state of Texas, particularly the Texas Department of Agriculture, where we're supplying a $10,000 stipend, which is essentially a grant to small businesses that are, again, looking to export, or small businesses that are looking to expand into existing export markets. So we do a number of things in addition to what we do domestically.
Thank you, Alale. It's a lot of good information. Lisandra, what risk, if any, do you take when deciding to open your own business?
Well, I think that the biggest risk is actually believing in your dream, believing in yourself, and thinking, will I be able to succeed?
You can share mine.
I think that the biggest risk that I took when taking this venture was believing in my dream, believing in, will I actually succeed? I think that for me, it was hard at the beginning because switching from a steady income job into the unknown was a little bit scary, but I was 24 years old and I didn't have a family or children, so that kind of pushed me into, what do I have to lose? So while opening the business, while opening the business, I think that another risk was managing my investment wisely. cash flow is very important in all businesses, and I think that if you do not know how to budget it, that can send you to the ruins. So, knowing where to allocate my investment and my money was something crucial that me and my partner were able to make, as far as purchasing department, as far as how much money we were going to put into the actual building, and also a major risk that I think that at the beginning was very scary was advertising. Nobody knew who I was, and nobody knew what my business stood for. So at the beginning, there's a lot of investment that you have to make towards advertising. You need to let people know, I'm here, I'm open, and I'm ready to serve. And as you know, advertising doesn't just give you a return on your investment immediately. It does take a while for people to, know where you are and find out what you're selling. So all of those were big risks that we took. And finally, I think that part of making our project successful and big was creating our own line for the store. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but we are a bridal and evening store. So what we did was designed our own line of bridal gowns and labeled it under our name, Forever After, and we started mass producing it. So not only were we selling it in the store, but also distributing it amongst other stores in the United States. So opening a business is a big risk, but with dedication and with hard work and not losing faith in what your goal is, I think that anything is possible. Thank you.
And I happened to go by there. See, I have a little something for everybody. I happened to go by there, and they almost outfitted me in one of those dresses. But it is a beautiful place. We still have time, and we're doing really well. So, Mr. Mims, in your opinion, what does it take to run a successful business?
Well, I think the main thing is you just need to be there all the time. You have to be there. You've got to take care of your customers. You've got to watch your costs, watch your sales, and just take care of customers. You've got to take care of business. You've got to be there. You can't just decide to get a manager and leave them there and you take off hunting and fishing or whatever you're going to go do. So you've got to be there all the time. If you go to my restaurant, pretty much you're going to see me there all the time. I've got my wife. She stays in the back and takes care of all the accounting. My kids are there. Pretty much you can be at any one of my restaurants and see a family member there. And I think that's one of the most important things. You've got to be there. You've got to take care of your customers. You've got to take care of your business. Watch everything that's there. Keep the quality going. And that's the way you're going to be successful. So.
Thank you, Pete. Monica, how can U.S. companies sell their products to other countries?
Okay, before I answer your question, this is not fair. This panel is not fair. You know what? I'm a customer of them. I mean, I'm a customer of Forever After. Obviously, I'm a customer of Pete, and I'm a SBA also company.
And I'm not a...
So first with the SBA, it's a very easy process. You should try it. Me as a logistic, as he was mentioning it, I went through that process to give services to my customers. Food, incredible food. Your dresses. I have no words for you. Okay, so back to my questions. How can we sell the products outside the United States? Right now, we are looking at the e-commerce. Usually, most of the big warehouses and the big stores are disappearing. Sadly, but that's a real thing that we are looking. And this is because we are buying the stuff from the manufacturers and sell them without touching sometimes the United States. But first to sell our products in the United States and out of the United States, you need to make a plan. You need to look for all the products, and you have to, as Mr. McDonald says at the beginning, start small. You need to plan small and then grow at not a faster as you wish, but You have to grow slowly but surely. I missed the word. You have to grow very, very slowly, but with all the grounds in your business. You have to always consider that we are not selling anymore just locally. You have to consider that you can sell here in Laredo, but you can also send your shipments or your products to Japan, to Argentina, to Brazil, to any part of the world. And also, don't try to do all the job with your company. Make partners. It's very important to have a good partner, to have a good transportation company, to have a good marketing company. Because if you are going to try to do everything on your company, you are going to waste your time, because you have to sell your product. You have to look for another opportunities. You have to look how the political and the economy in other countries are moving in order for you to make decisions on your own business. Because if there's no stability on the country that is your primary buyer, you have to think in another country, and you need to start looking for what regulations you're going to need, because there's two types of selling. You can sell your product outside of your door, and whoever buys your product came and pick it up and get in charge of legal documents. But some of the customers, they don't want to deal with that. So you have to sell your product on their door. And especially for the new generations, they want it yesterday, and they want it like ready. If it's a gift, they want to wrap it and with a dedication. And you have to think on the dedication, because they don't have time, okay? So, saying this, selling, it's about getting smart, getting about creative. As long as you are going to be creative on your business, you are going to sell your product.
Thank you, Monica. Alele, what programs does SBA offer to small businesses to go international?
So I mentioned earlier the 3 credit programs that we offer, but before I get into the details of that, let me just start with this. If you are a small business owner in this room today, and I'm privileged to be joined by these entrepreneurs on the stage here, I've seen enough financial statements, I've seen enough small businesses that I can tell you, when you think you don't need working capital, that's when you need it. Don't wait until you need it to go seek it, because then I can tell you, unfortunately, it's probably too late. There are things that a lender will look at on a company's financials that will determine if they're going to extend credit. And oftentimes, what I see just as a best practice, whatever it's worth to you, when you feel like I've got enough capital, I've got capacity, I can execute this business, I don't need debt, I don't want it, that's when you need it. Because you're going to restrict yourself in terms of growth and entering into new markets. Now, as far as credit programs that we offer, I mentioned the Export Working Capital Facility, the $5 million facility that can be utilized for foreign purchase orders and contracts. I've got a company that I'm working with right now out of El Paso, Texas. They manufacture equipment in Mexico, and then it's shipped into the United States for certification, and then they ship it over into Asia primarily. They've got really good margins. It's a $30 million revenue size company. And I can tell you, in looking at the historical financials, I saw this small company go from 10 to 20 to $30 million in pretty short order. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that they were starting to sell internationally. And they were also taking advantage of greater margins. So we have the Export Working Capital Facility to support the small businesses with their manufacturing costs. So the $5 million facility is essentially delivered through the financial institution, the bank that we work with. The bank then advances that capital to the small business owner into their checkings account generally, and then they're able to pay their suppliers, pay their vendors, up until the point that payment has been collected from the foreign source, and then the balance on that facility is paid off, and then the process repeats itself. In addition to that credit program, we have our international trade loan, which is a term loan facility. A small business owner can utilize that credit program to purchase a building. If you need a manufacturing shop, because you're getting ready to export a product, or you just need a shop to store product because you're going to serve as a distributor, you can take advantage of our international trade loan. And then finally, we have our Export Express, which is a small facility. It caps out at $500,000. It has the same features as the export working capital and our international trade loan. So all three of those credit programs are available through the financial institutions that the SBA partners with. And then in addition to that, we have our STEP grant program. And I can tell you, the state of Texas was awarded this grant program for the third year in a row. The stipend award this fiscal year will be $10,000. So as a small business owner, you can take advantage of that $10,000 stipend. And I would love to see Laredo, Texas, small business owners putting in for that application, putting in for that grant. And I think the window will open. I was told early November, but I was just recently updated that they're actually going to open that process right before Thanksgiving. So as soon as that happens, I'll communicate that to Annie, and then Annie will share that with you here in Laredo. Please go in and take advantage, because that's money that does not have to be repaid.
Thank you. I've got to tell you, I think I know a lot about business, and I've been in business, but you learn something new every day. That's good information. Thank you. Lisandra, what has been the most challenging aspect in competing with online sales?
I think that all retailers have been hit with online sales, and it's taken a big toll on us because online does not have the same overhead cost as we do. We have the cost of operation that is very, very high. We have to pay for a building, light, water, you name it, employees. So I think that the younger generations have opted for saving time, money, even taxes, because online sometimes doesn't charge you taxes. And it has hit the retail industry hard. However, we have gotten on the wagon of technology and have created a website for my store where you can shop online. We've also created an app for Forever After, and we have a very, very strong social media presence in Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. So I think that what happens is that if you do not adapt to how technology is hitting your business, then you will be left behind. But as a young entrepreneur, I've been able to take classes and learn about technology because, I mean, it's been a while since I've been out of school, and you become a dinosaur when it comes to technology, and it's insane. I have a 1-year-old who is able to function a Galaxy 9 Note, and you would say it took me a while to learn how to operate it, and my husband himself is not that friendly with that phone, and it's just a chip that now the younger generations want to do everything with the click of a button. So yes, it has hurt the retail industry, but it is also our responsibility to evolve and to get on the program and be able to offer our customers what they want. If they want to buy it with the click of a button, we have it. If they want to buy it through a social media, we have it. But then again, in my industry, I would have to say that customer service does play a very big part in what we do. Not all brides want to shop online. Some brides want the experience of the popping of the champagne, say yes to the dress, customer service of getting your evening dress tailored to perfection. So it's kind of hand in hand. We have to offer to both of our customers, the younger generation that wants to shop online, and also the traditional customer who wants the service, who wants the alteration, who wants the attention, and also our expertise. Because in my store, when you walk in, we make you feel like you're the only customer there. And not only that, we provide you with the right advice as far as what fits your body better, what style will flatter you most, or what event are you seeking? Because sometimes we have mother of the bride, and well, a mother of the bride is a little bit more of an extravagant dress, and if you're a guest, well, we have guest dresses too. So online presence, yes, it has affected us, but I think it has also made us become more competitive, and it has also helped me in particular offer better customer service so that I don't lose sales online. Thank you.
And Lisandra, I have to tell you, when I walked in, just what you just now said, she made me feel like I was the only one in the store. So I felt like a king. We still have some more time. So Pete, in your opinion, what does it take to run a successful business?
You asked me that.
Did I ask you that already? Then I need to ask you, what advice would you give to anyone who wants to open their own restaurant?
Well, first of all, like I said earlier, when I first started cooking, I had no restaurant experience at all. And I was fortunate to be asked to kind of take over a kitchen and just kind of learn there. And I learned a lot there at that place. My son went to culinary school for a couple of years. The main thing, I think if somebody wants to open up a restaurant, they should go work at a restaurant for a couple of years. Because it's a lot of work. People don't look at it. I mean, you're putting in 12, 14-hour days. And it's just a lot of work. There's a lot to learn as far as health, safety for your customers, the accounting part. You got the front of the house, the back of the house. And you really need to get in there and trying to find a restaurant that will let you go work there for a couple of years and learn all the aspects of the business. Start at the bottom. I mean, we have employees that start out as dishwashers and now they're on the line cooking as chefs. We bring kids in from Laredo College. I'm on the advisory board there on the culinary arts program there, and they have a pretty nice school there. And since we opened, we've always had interns working with us. And we have like 6 employees right now full-time, and one of them is one of our head chefs, started it was LCC then. I still can't get used to Laredo College yet. You need another word.
I can't either, but it's okay.
But I really, really, really think that you have to get some experience somewhere, whether you're going to go to culinary school or work in a restaurant, because you need to get that experience. And you may not even like the restaurant business, so you don't want to go open up a restaurant and you get in the middle of it and find out it's just a lot of work and it's too much work and I don't like this business, and then you're up to your head in debt and everything like that. When we did Border, I'd already had some experience. We had people asking us to build a restaurant to do. So I think when you're going to do one, you need to get a good concept. Try to get a concept. In our view, we got a concept that nobody else was really doing in town. We opened up our own little deal there. My original concept was no tacos and no sushi. So try not to do that. And we talked to SBA with our bank. It didn't work out for us. It just didn't work out for us on that one. So luckily, my lender and my landlord is one and the same, and they worked with us together on that one. I mean, you look at Border, it's inexpensive. We have about $1 million in that place, just doing that place. So I mean, it costs a lot of money to build a restaurant. So if you're going to open up a restaurant, you got to start working for somebody, see if you like the business, figure out a good concept for what you want to do, and just watch your cost and make sure you have the right concept and don't spend too much on a concept that you're not going to get a lot of money out of it in the end. That's all I could say. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. And I think we have time for one more. Monica, and let me make sure I don't ask this a second time. What are the regulations and legal aspects required to run your logistics and distribution business?
Okay, in order to be on the logistics services, sometimes hearing the term logistics, it takes you to transportation. But now logistics includes everything: customs clearance, logistics, compliance. Even we have to do the job of selling our customer. This product is not going to work with you because it's not going to sell easily in that country. So as a broker, now we are seeing that we have to cover a lot of aspects, but we cannot do it without our partner that I mentioned in the last question. You have to have a very good partners in order to provide a good service. To be a logistic company, it has to include a transportation company, so you can move all the shipments as the needs for the customers. You need to be licensed, because there is a lot of companies that they are not licensed. They don't have their own broker inside the company doing the business. So when you hire a company that doesn't have a licensed broker, even Mexican or US broker, you are going to deal with more companies, and the customer just want to deal with one company. Like, you give me the service and you respond for all the services. Also, you have to deal with lawyers because customers are going to have troubles. They are going to have audits and they are going to go to you. They are not going to go to the lawyer directly. They want you to solve all their problems. If they got a penalty or they got a letter for request of documents, they want you to answer those documents. So you have to cover a lot of aspects when you have a forwarding agency. But basically, look for a company that has a licensed broker. That if it's Mexican or US broker, just look for that license. And now the countries that we are negotiating, like Mexico, Japan, China, Canada, they are looking for certification. They are asking to be a secure company. They want for the companies to get into the programs that secure their countries. Like here in the United States, we have the CityPad in order to control drugs and any smuggling. In Mexico, they do have the NEC, and all the other countries has another type of program. So when you are gonna have a company on the logistic, ask for those programs so you know who you are dealing with.
Thank you, Monica. And I'd like to ask this last one for Alale. Explain the process for a client that needs assistance from SBA's Office of International Trade.
So I would say, just real quick, I know we're up on time, you probably should start with the Small Business Development Center. That's a great place to start. They can get you started with a good business plan and essentially prepare you for when you have that conversation with your lender. I can tell you, hearing this gentleman's conversation here with the restaurant business, it doesn't hurt to do a little bit of market research in terms of the industry that you play in. Oil and gas, classic example. I was recently relocated from Dallas to Houston. Houston is a very, very different economy than that of Dallas, heavy in the oil and gas industry. And so when I get to Houston, there's just doors of businesses that want assistance. And oftentimes what I hear is that I'm in the oil and gas industry, or I supply some sort of service or product to that industry, and my bank won't provide me with any level of capital. Well, let's find out why that lender or why that institution won't supply you with capital. So I go and make my rounds to the different financial institutions in the Houston market, and then I learned that a lot of them don't have much of an appetite for the oil and gas industry. And so when you take that into an account, and I'm just using the oil and gas industry because it's a popular one, when you take that into account as a small business owner, when you're crafting that business plan with the Small Business Development Center, take all of that into the equation when preparing for financial assistance, whether it be through a grant program or through an SBA loan program. All of that plays a factor in how successful you will be in getting the capital that you need to grow your business and then to also maintain it. So I would highly, highly recommend starting with the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, and then migrating over to the SBA's district office, and then ultimately to the financial institution of your choosing. This kind of would be my roadmap of recommendation.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to thank our panelists. I could stay here all day and listen to them because they have really great information. Thank you so much. And I'd also like to thank the Office of the Governor for allowing us this opportunity, for giving us this opportunity to be here today and to share this type of information with the City of Laredo. Thank you, Office of the Governor.